So, can you hear me? Okay, okay. Right. So, today we're going to write an essay, and the topic of the essay is the following. Today, more people are traveling than ever before. Why is this the case? What are the benefits of traveling for the traveler? So for those who have been studying for a while already, you know that there are several types of essays. For example, causes and solutions type of essay and advantages and disadvantages type of essay. And this type is a mixed one. So here we are asked about the causes, why is this the case, without solutions, and about advantages, but without disadvantages. So we are asked, what are the benefits of traveling for the traveler? So what are the advantages and what is the reason? Okay, so basically it's a mixed type. But if you remember, there is also a type of essay that is called double question. And basically what it is, there are just two questions. And in most situations, the way we structure this essay is that in the first paragraph, we answer the first, in the first main body paragraph, we answer the first question, and in the second main body paragraph, we answer the second question. So that's how we structure our essay. Right, so before we start, let's revise some vocabulary. Can you give me some synonyms for a traveler, for the word traveler? Because obviously we're going to talk about them throughout the essay. Please write in the chat box any synonyms for the word traveler that you may know. Okay, Vitaly, explorer, but explorer is a kind of a traveler. So it's a traveler who makes a journey to some place that is unknown. Okay. Any other words? Voyager. All right. Yes. Katerina, you can use the word Voyager. Right. Okay. So maybe you can give. Oh, here are my examples. You can say tourist, holidaymaker, globetrotter, and vacationer or vacationist, but it's American. Okay, right. So, talking about the introduction, normally in our introductions, we just write a general background statement, something very general on the topic. Like traveling is very popular, is becoming, but it's very similar to, in our case, it's very similar to the task. So we just have a general background statement. Then we paraphrase the task. Adventurer. Okay, not all travelers are adventurers, but okay. You can say that it's kind of synonym, well, especially if you structure your essay in a way that you can mention adventurers as a synonym. Absolutely. Okay, so, and then you give an outline. In our essay, we are not asked for our opinion. Otherwise, we could say something. I mean, we could express our opinions here. So, Sometimes it is not necessary to write a general background statement. You just paraphrase the task and give an outline. In this essay, I'm going to talk about this or that. And here's my example. So, in recent times, traveling has become a hugely popular activity. And then an outline. This essay will explore a number of possible factors behind this rise in popularity and detail some of the benefits that traveling can offer travelers. Okay, so now you have 5 minutes, and please write your own introduction. For those who have just joined us, uh, here's the topic. Today, more people are traveling than ever before. Why is this the case? What are the benefits of traveling for the traveler? Okay, so you have 5 minutes. Please write your introduction in the chat box. Okay, so here's Ekaterina's example. Today, really a lot of. So when you say really, it means you need to say many or much. You cannot say really and a lot of. When you have words like really, very, so, to, then you cannot use a lot of. You use many, much instead, even in affirmative sentences, even in positive sentences. Okay, so really many people, or a great number of people, right, got the opportunity to travel a lot. it would be better to, well, first of all, to avoid using the verb to get in essays in all its meanings, because get, it's mostly for speaking. And secondly, it's better to use present perfect here. So people have received the opportunity. So instead of got, it would sound better in an academic essay to say have received the opportunity to travel a lot. Borders between states have become more transparent. Travel and travel expenses have become available to many people. Okay, to make this construction even more complex, I would recommend to use inversion, using the construction not only but also. And if you do it like this, it will sound in the following way. Not only have the borders between states become more transparent, but travel and travel expenses have become available to many people. And if you use not only have the borders between states become, you use an inversion, which is an advanced grammar construction, and it will be really beneficial for your essay. So I agree with Stephen Fry, who said traveling is a great thing. We leave for travel by some people and we return completely different. So, Ekaterina, this is an academic essay, and that is why it's better to avoid words like I agree. So this is not a personal opinion essay. Well, this is possible in IELTS, but this is not the case. This is why you can quote another person for sure, but then when you express your, well, here you say that you agree, you can express it in an impersonal way. For example, it is undoubtable, it is, well, what could you say? It is hard to disagree with Stephen Fry. For example, you can say it like this. It's hard to disagree with him. And then you will avoid saying I, and it will sound more academic. Okay, so Elena, if 150 years ago, only, you don't need a comma before only 36% of people left the continent on which they live, I think lived. Oh, okay. Today, 3 out of 4 people have been outside their part, without were, yes, have been. Or 3 from 4 people have been outside their part of the world at least once. Okay. Through the sample statistics, it does not cover all countries. Today, travel around the world in demand more than ever in the history of mankind. You need is. Today, travel or traveling around the world is in demand more than ever in the history of mankind. Of course, first of all, travel is associated with positive aspects, but do not forget about the negative factors, at least potential negative factors. So this imperative mood, do not forget. Again, it's better to make it impersonal. For example, one should not forget, right? Something like this. It should sound more impersonal. As for the rest, it is quite unusual to start like this with some statistics, but okay. Well, it's hard to say how an examiner will react to this. But as for the language, the rest is fine. So, Vitaly, in recent times, almost all people are fond of traveling, so it is very interesting to see some new places. Okay. If you say towns, Vitaly, you cannot say another. Another, it's only one. So you say other towns, because another, that's only one. Other towns and countries. Even with new communication technology, people have to travel much, as it's particularly important. So don't use contractions in your writing. You need to write it is instead of it's, because it's is only for speaking, and in writing you should say it. You should write it is. Okay, even the new communication technology. Where's that? In recent times, almost all people are fond of traveling, so it is very interesting to see some new places and other towns and countries. Even with new communication technology, people have to travel much as it is particularly important. Okay, important is a very simple word. You can say something like it is of significant importance instead of it is important, just to make it more complex. It is of significant or crucial importance, or crucial significance or significant importance, just to make it sound more academic. Okay. To establish good face-to-face relations with partners, suppliers, and customers. I agree with SP Pent that traveling nowadays has become an important part of modern life. Okay, instead of important, Vitaly, you're using the word important for the second time, and it is a clear sign for the examiner that your vocabulary is limited, or maybe it isn't limited, but you don't show that it isn't limited. So if possible, well, the word important is one of the words that should be avoided both in your speaking and in your writing. Why? There's nothing wrong with it, but it's a very simple word. So instead of important part, you can say, for example, an essential part, существенно неотъемлемая часть, so an essential part, and it will show the examiner that you don't, not only do you know the word important, but you also know some higher band vocabulary. It will be just more beneficial for your lexical resource. Okay, there's it is very interesting to see. You can say instead of very interesting, you can say, for example, it is amazing, maybe. Because again, interesting is, it's a very simple word. And it's okay it's okay to use simple words, but if you also use complex or less common vocabulary items, if you do not, then try to replace these words. Like instead of interesting, you need to say something else. All right. So let's also wait for Natalia. She's going to send us the introduction. So nowadays, the number of people who prefer to pass their vacations. If you spell vocations with O, it means a profession. So it's vacation. And don't forget that it's American. It's an American word. For example, you use an American word vacation, but then you use traveling as a British spelling, because in American spelling, it will be one L, like Vitaly did. Maybe not Vitaly, maybe it's his Microsoft corrected this. There are holidays if it's British English, vacations is American English, but then traveling should be one L. And visiting all parts of the world has increased. Okay, the number of people has increased. Okay, not only to the exploration of the phenomenon, but also to the highlighting of some advantages of traveling. Will this essay be devoted? No. If you say not only, the inversion should be in the first part. And maybe it's not only will this essay be devoted to the exploration of this phenomenon, but it will also deal with highlighting some of the advantages of traveling. It will be like this. But it doesn't sound very natural. It's very good grammar construction by itself, but in this context, I'm afraid it doesn't sound natural. But if you say it not only, and the inversion should be right after not only, because you have the exploration of this phenomenon, or researching, or well, taking into consideration, then you need a verb after not only, if you really want inversion. Okay, so let's move on. And our first main body paragraph, well, most likely you can structure it in a different way. It's also possible, but usually the first paragraph is the first question, and the second paragraph is the second question, if it's a double question essay like this. So today more and more people are traveling than ever before. Why is this the case? What are the benefits of traveling for the traveler? So, okay. This was the introduction. We're going to talk about what are some of the we're going to talk about the reasons why more and more people are traveling nowadays. But before we do this, can I ask you to brainstorm some of the ideas? What are some of the expressions that can be used to give reasons of something? So these are some synonyms for the word because. Maybe they are conjunctions like because, due to the fact that, predominantly due to the fact that, or maybe they are special expressions like one of the main reasons why one of the main reasons of blah 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 is blah blah blah. Maybe something like this. Can I ask you to write some of such expressions in the chat box? So some of the expressions that can be used to give reasons of some kind of a phenomenon. Okay, Natalia, the main reasons of something are, okay, and then you give at least two reasons. Or you can say one of the main reasons of something is. This can be highlighted that, not this, but it can be highlighted that. It can be highlighted that. And then you can say anything, not only a reason. If you say it can be highlighted that, it's like it is possible to say that. It can be caused by. Okay, usually it's not it, but something can be caused by something else. And you can use it, certainly, but not in the beginning of your main body paragraph. So somewhere in the middle, you talk about some phenomenon, and then you say, well, this can be caused by, and then you give a reason. Absolutely. So it's also very nice because it's passive voice. It will be beneficial for your grammar range if you use it. Are there any other ideas? Let's find out why. Well, Natalie, this is not academic because, well, first of all, let's it's contraction. Even if you say let us, it is not suitable for an essay in IELTS. Let us do something. It's an expression that is used only in speaking. You cannot. We're going to find out why. Well, to find out why is a nice part of an expression, but we are going to. This is something that should be avoided. Personal pronouns, unless you are asked for your opinion, should be avoided in an academic essay. Those who are taking the general IELTS, your essay should also be academic. It's just the rules are not so strict, are not as strict as for those who are taking the academic IELTS. But still, your essay should not be spoken. Okay, if there are any other expressions, please write them in the chat box. You can also take a piece of paper and maybe you will want to write down some of the expressions. You will certainly receive the recording of this webinar and the presentation, but well, now you're going to write the paragraph, and in this paragraph you might want to use some of these expressions. So the expressions that can be used for giving reasons, well, that's because of. One more thing, giving reasons is a very important function. You're expected to give reasons if you're taking the general IELTS in your letter. Explain why. It's a very common bullet point. Then in your essays, you're also expected to give reasons. And finally, if you look at the speaking questions, very many IELTS speaking questions have a small word at the end. Why or why not? every other IELTS speaking question ends with another question word, why or why not. So like, do you like music? Why not? And then you have to do it several times during the speaking test. That's why I recommend to remember several ways of expressing several ways of giving reasons. So the expressions are because, and then you need to use subject and verb. Because, then something does something, or because of, and then you use a noun or maybe gerund. Due to or owing to. So, and then you use a noun or noun phrase again. Then due to the fact that, or owing to the fact that. So after this, you need subject and predicate. You can also say predominantly due to the fact that. It sounds very academic. Okay, since or as, they are also synonyms for because. You can also say on account of, mostly for speaking, or okay, maybe you can find a way to use it in writing as well. On account of the weather, we didn't go for a walk. It means because of the weather, we didn't go for a walk. It's an example from speaking, not from writing. For the reason that, that's also because of. It's also an expression that can be used to give reasons. Here are some examples of these expressions in context. For instance, she suffered from parasites on account of the impure water in her village, right? She was often cold due to not having shoes, warm clothes, or blankets. Then, she was hungry for the reason that she had no resources to grow food. And one more, she was fighting for survival since she had not been given a chance. Okay, you can also say the cause of something is something, or Natalia has already mentioned this, something is caused by, or something is due to something else. So these are some of the expressions. I'm going to show you some more phrases in a second. You will also receive this. Okay, so, well, when you say what you say when giving reason for something, this is the word because. Well, that's simple. Then you can also say the reason for something is, or the reason for this is. So you can explain something like these printers quickly achieved a market share of over 60%. The reason for this is that. Okay, then why? And instead of saying, let's find out why, or we're going to find out why, you can say, there are many reasons why, or this may explain why. And this, then it will sound more impersonal and academic. Okay, so then in order to, it's more like purpose or the reason. Many criminals steal in order to get money to buy drugs. So in order to, it's purpose, but it also gives the reason. Okay, then you can also say for. So for legal reasons, for research purposes, or many people go there for sightseeing, right? For sightseeing, for legal reasons, for research purposes. Then through, she got the job through hard work. It means because. Or the records were lost either through carelessness or incompetence. Or as a result, sea levels are rising as a result of global warming. Or as a result of his work, illnesses such as tuberculosis can now be treated. Okay, we already mentioned this, due to and owing to. So she resigned due to ill health, or the number of songbirds has declined. This is partly due, so it's due to. Predominantly due to the fact that, partly due to, so you can use these expressions. Owing to lack of public interest. Okay, so some words that mean reason, some synonyms for the word reason. Well, first of all, this is the word reason. There were two main reasons for, or 39% of workers gave poor working conditions as a reason for leaving their previous job. The reasons why this happens are as follows. Okay, you can also use this. This is very formal. The reason that sales have not increased is that we had a very cold summer. There are good reasons for believing that the Earth has not increased in size during the past 500,000 years. Okay, this is the word reason. This is how you can use it. An explanation. Scientists have offered several possible explanations for these results. Or you can say there are several possible explanations. Or several possible explanations could be provided. Or you can say no one has ever really provided a satisfactory explanation of how children learn language. Okay. Then motive. There may have been a political motive for the killing or behind. Some people have questioned the motives behind the decision. Okay. Then another synonym for a reason is grounds. There are strong grounds for believing that what he says is true. The latest crime statistics provide some grounds for optimism. He was refused permission to stay on the grounds that he had entered the country illegally. Okay, for the reason that, on the grounds that. Or they recommended joining the EU on purely economic grounds, only for economic reasons. Okay, so each time you express a reason, either in your speaking or in your writing, you use a different word each time. Argument can be used as a reason. There are strong environmental arguments for doing something, for limiting car use. One of the main arguments against the death penalty is that an innocent person could accidentally be executed. I do not agree with the argument that experiments are necessary on live animals. There is little evidence to support their argument, or the argument put forward this argument. Okay, rationale. And organizations need a rationale for dividing up their work. In the first part of the book, I will attempt to provide a rationale for such an approach. The document outlines the rationale behind the government's economic reforms. And the last one is justification. The US government's main justification for the war was that they wanted to bring democracy to the country, or there is, he states, no justification for killing another human being under any circumstances. So these are a number of possible ways to talk about the reason of something. Try to use these several of them. You will receive the recording of this webinar. You'll also receive the presentation and the materials. And now we're moving on, and we're going to talk about the reasons why people are traveling more nowadays than before. So let's brainstorm the ideas. Please write your ideas in the chat box. Today, more people are traveling than ever before. Why is this the case? What are the benefits of traveling for the traveler? Okay, so please write your ideas in the chat box. Okay, to broaden perspectives or to broaden horizons, there is another expression, through traveling. Okay, you can broaden your horizons, or you can also say your scope. Okay, any other? During traveling, you will meet people that are very different from you. Yes, you can meet people from different walks of life. Development of transport infrastructure. Uh, okay, right. This is the reason. So, Vitaly, your sentence is mostly not the reason, not what is the case, why is this the case, but what are the advantages mostly. However, well, you can also state it as a reason, but I think it would be more suitable in the advantages, in the benefits paragraph. Okay, you get the opportunity to meet new people and pump your communication skills. Okay, the idea is absolutely nice, but again, it's more of an advantage. To participate in international exhibitions, it's well, this can be a reason, of course, but for most people, that's an advantage. I would put it in the second paragraph. The world has become more cosmopolitan than it used to be. Okay, this can be the reason, yes. And also the development of transport infrastructure, that's also a reason, more of a reason. Okay, so if there are other ideas, please write them in the chat box. Here is what I'm offering you. So you can say, traveling is much more affordable than it used to be. We traveled to discover. Okay, yes, that's the reason. That can be a reason. So, well, opportunity to discover, but people could discover something before and now. And we need a reason why people travel more, not why people travel. You're answering a different question. And you need to answer exactly the question, why do people travel more than ever before? The income of population has increased, okay, possibly, but I would even say that the cost of traveling has decreased. So maybe this is the case. Well, nobody is going to check if this is correct or not, and this can be used as an idea without any problem. The income of population has increased. So here's what I'm offering. Traveling is much more affordable than it used to be. Transport system has improved, and it's easier to arrange trips by internet now. Then the rise in social media, websites like Facebook and Instagram present their users with an unending stream of photos of friends in exotic locations. And so this elicits a desire to travel. Then um, people travel for better career prospects, for employment opportunities, and of course, well, it's becoming more and more common these days. And then every year, maybe even more often, they travel back to visit their family and friends, and as a result, people travel more and more. So there are three ideas. I think two ideas will be enough for the essay, for the main body paragraph. And here you are not even asked for two ideas. The question is, why is this the case? Sometimes when they ask you, what are the reasons for this? Or what are the causes of this? Then you need to give at least two reasons. But here they're just asking, why is this the case? And you can give just one reason. Just make sure that you develop it. You don't have to give two or more reasons. One of them would be enough. Right. So if there are any other ideas, please feel free to write them in the chat box. Normally, you structure your essay like this. You write a topic sentence and then you explain the reason. Then you expand or explain why this reason is the reason. Then you give an example and then write a mini conclusion. This is the classical structure. Today, I will offer you a creative one. Well, more or less creative. You can give a reason, then give an example. You just justify it by giving an example. Then you give another reason and explain why this is important. And then you have and that's the paragraph already. So here is the example. One of the main reasons why the number of people traveling has increased in the travel is that travel is much more affordable than it used to be. For instance, whereas in the past it might have cost the average person a year's salary to travel from Britain to Turkey, These days, it is possible for British tourists to enjoy a last-minute city break in Istanbul for the cost of half a month's pay. Another significant cause is the rise in social media. This is influential because websites like Facebook and Instagram present their users with an unending stream of photos of friends in exotic locations, thus eliciting a desire to travel. Okay, so now, please, you have 10 minutes. Please write your first main body paragraph explaining the reasons, giving reasons why people travel more and more. Okay, you can either follow a traditional structure or a double idea paragraph structure. So 10 minutes. The internet has changed the world. It is the immense source, okay, the spelling, immense source of necessary information of all directions, and traveling is not an exception. Okay, is not an exception, right? So what I wrote, nowadays it is easier to book a trip online. So this is maybe a similar idea. Okay, so Ekaterina, one of the main reasons why people began to travel actively, here you're talking about the present, so it would be more natural to say have become to travel actively, or was that the living conditions and safety of people became much better. Again, have become much better. Instead of much better, you can say significantly better or considerably better. And it sounds a bit of higher level, significantly or considerably better. It sounds better than better than much better. And they have the opportunity to organize their leisure activities and spend their free time too. Okay, so instead of saying to and in the beginning, have become significantly better, and then you say moreover, and then you just continue another sentence without saying to, because it sounds like you're speaking, and in writing it would be moreover, they had the opportunity, they received the opportunity to organize their leisure activities and spend their free time. Or you can say, and moreover, not only have they received the opportunity to organize their leisure activities, but they can also spend their free time. Traveling allows you to do this with great success. Okay. Then, Vitaly, according to journal travelers, I would say according to the traveler's journal. Then you give a name and then journal. The main reason of traveling is increased level of the soul. Doesn't sound very nice. What is it? How can you increase level of the soul? What is this level of the soul? It's not very clear. This expression is not very successful, I'm afraid. And I don't exactly understand what you mean. If you can please try to explain what you mean, maybe I can offer a better expression for you. Okay, it is a desire that needs to be fulfilled in a person who craves wanderlust or escapes that they will always look back on. Okay, people through traveling open. Okay, people open their soul to different cultures through traveling, food, activities, values, and morals of life, and the beautiful landscapes that surround a town or city or country, or a city or a country. But you just say you just put or before the last one, so that's around a town, a city, or a country. It will be better stylistically. Okay, so if someone also wants to add the first paragraph, please feel free to do it uh, at any time during the webinar. Let's move on. In the second main body paragraph, we're going to talk about the advantages, the benefits of traveling. The question is, what are the benefits of traveling for the traveler, not the benefits in general. So you need to write exactly about the benefits of traveling for the traveler. Before we do this, can you please share some of the expressions that can be used to describe benefits or advantages? Please write such expressions in the chat box. Brainstorming ideas, we are thinking of expressions that can be used to describe advantages. For example, one of the advantages is this, or well, just abstract expressions that can be used in any essay about advantages and disadvantages. We will brainstorm ideas a bit later. Okay, maybe some synonyms for an advantage. So, well, you can offer your examples. Here's what I can offer. The impact, that's influence. Travelers discover their souls. Okay, so the great advantage of, for example, traveling is that one of the big advantages of traveling for the traveler is that one of the good points about traveling is well, for example, modern technology or something else has brought great benefits to, or traveling has brought great benefits to many people, to people around the world. The major plus point of traveling is, so you can use one of these expressions. In your speaking, you are sometimes also asked what are the advantages and disadvantages. And besides the expressions that I already mentioned, you can also say that the good thing about traveling is that, the best thing about traveling is that, the great thing about traveling is that. But please do not use these expressions in your writing because it's not suitable style. The beauty of traveling is that. You can also say it. Okay, let's look at some other expressions to talk about advantages and disadvantages. So the great advantage of something is that the advantage of using specialist firm is that the people who work there have years of experience. Or one of the big advantages of this type of engine is that it is smaller and lighter than a conventional petrol engine. Or the university has the advantage of being one of the oldest and best respected. So you can say something has the advantage of being, right? The movement of the sea is predictable. This gives wave power a distinct advantage over wind power. So to give something a distinct advantage over, it's also a very nice expression. Despite a few problems with the design, the car's advantages clearly outweigh its disadvantages. So clearly outweigh, that's also. Sometimes you're asked in the essay, in your task, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? So you can say yes, they clearly outweigh the disadvantages. Then benefit, regular exercise has many benefits, including reducing the risk of heart disease. Modern technology has brought great benefits to mankind, or potential benefits. There has been a great deal of research into the potential benefits of using genetically modified crops. Another synonym for an advantage is the word merit. Okay, the committee will consider the merits of the proposals. In her book, she discusses the relative merits of the two political systems. The merits and demerits, so that's advantages and disadvantages. The merits and demerits of alternative funding systems were widely discussed in the newspapers. Or you can say the chairman saw no great merit in this suggestion, right? Then you can also say the good point. One of the good points about the car is that it is easy to drive. Each system has its good and bad points. Plus point. The small but powerful battery is another of the camera's many plus points. Okay, or you can say something is another of something's many plus points. The estate agent's leaflet said a major plus point was the recently modernized kitchen. Okay, or the good thing, so the great thing, the best thing I've already mentioned, but please remember that these expressions are rather informal. Please don't use them in formal essays, in academic essays, or even general IELTS essays. So the great thing about living in a city is that you can go shopping at almost every hour of the day or night. Her wicked sense of humor was the best thing about her. The good thing about cycling is that you don't have to worry about getting stuck in a traffic jam. So you can use these expressions speaking. And I've already also mentioned the beauty of something is that the beauty of the design is that it is so simple. So these are the expressions. You will receive them with the materials after this webinar. There are also some expressions for disadvantages, but we are not going to talk about disadvantages in the essay. So these are the expressions, and now let's brainstorm ideas. Okay, so what are the benefits of traveling for the traveler? Can you please write the main ideas? What are the advantages? You already, when you started talking about the reasons why people travel more and more, you actually started talking about the benefits. Well, this is the benefit, and that's why they travel. But I would recommend to separate. There are clear reasons, and then there are benefits. Of course, benefit can also be a reason why people travel, but let's just describe them as benefits. Okay, while you are writing, here are my ideas. So the benefits are reduction in stress levels. Travels can broadens the mind. Okay, yes. This is my second advantage that I mentioned. So a reduction in stress levels. Travelers can relieve their work-related anxieties and focus on the present moment, and this in turn can increase their happiness and boost their immune system. So these are the advantages of traveling. Then it can on top of that, it can help to broaden people's horizons. They can experience new cultures, meet people from different backgrounds. So these are the two advantages that I'm going to develop in my essay. Now you can have maybe some other ideas. It gives the possibilities to be involved in different culture. Okay. Right. So when you structure your second main body paragraph, again, you can follow the classical structure: a topic sentence, then explain or expand this topic sentence, then support it with an example and make a mini conclusion. Well, in this essay, I'm going to show you another structure. You have a topic sentence where you give an advantage, then you expand and explain it, give a result or consequence of this advantage, then you give another advantage, and then you talk about the result or consequences of this advantage, and it's something like a conclusion when you're talking about the result. So here's my example. The growth in travel means that many people can now enjoy the benefits of traveling, not least among them a reduction in stress levels. Travelers can use trips abroad to relieve their work-related anxieties and focus on the present moment. This, in turn, can increase their happiness and boost their immune system. A second merit of traveling is that it can help to broaden people's horizons. For example, exploring unfamiliar regions gives travelers a chance to experience new cultures and meet people from different backgrounds. As a result, travelers can enjoy a deeper appreciation for the world. So this is an example. Now you have 10 minutes to write your example of the second main body paragraph. You can follow a classical structure, or, well, here you need at least two benefits because in the task they ask you what are the benefits. It's plural. It means that you need to mention at least two benefits. So you have 2 minutes. It gives new acquaintances for business and friendship. Yes, you can also say it provides you with new acquaintances. If you change the style, uh, yes, the idea is fine. You can also say not only does it provide you with new acquaintances for business, but also for friendship. Okay, so despite the growth of virtual entertainment, real travels can never be replaced with their online analogs because only living experience help us to recognize and feel the reality. Okay, but it's nice. You can also add an emphatic construction here for your grammar range, because they are only living experiences that help us. So they are only living experiences that help us, and then it will sound a bit more advanced. So, Natalia, there may have been a variety of motives for growing in number of people who wish to move to other cities or countries during their holidays, but maybe this is mainly to the accessibility. Okay, instead of saying maybe, you can use a modal verb, but this may be mainly due to, or okay, just after this. Instead of using maybe before, you can use this may be mainly due to the accessibility of the internet. Okay, and then another sentence. Thus, it is used as an immense source of information. Not only can tourists buy a ticket to any corner of the world, maybe tickets in general, but also to book a room. But they can also, you need a subject, but they can also book a room in a hotel in one blink of an eye. Okay, nice. In the click of a mouse, you can also say. With a click of a mouse. I believe that the main benefit of traveling, Vitaly, here it's an essay not about an opinion, but it's an essay about ideas. So if you're asked for an opinion, say, what do you think are the advantages and disadvantages? And they say, I think the advantages are, I think the benefits are, I believe the main benefit is. But if they ask you what are the benefits, this is just the way IELTS is organized. If they are asking you about the advantages, you say the advantage is. If they ask you what do you think is the advantage, this you say I believe or that the advantage is. So you need to put this away because your mark in task achievement will suffer if you do this. So the main benefit of traveling to a new place is that it forces you to face the unknown and think differently. Okay, to think differently, maybe there is another expression, it's an idiom, to think out of the box, or to start thinking out of the box. It means to start thinking in an original way. You can use an idiom instead. If you live in a large city, just going on a hike over the weekend will make you feel different. On top of that, it is a spoken expression. So instead of this in writing, you need to use furthermore or moreover. On top of that, it's only for speaking. Okay, and moreover, according to. Okay, according to. The Traveler's Journal adventure requires novelty. It absolutely doesn't bind with comfort zone, or it is not connected. Okay, and then don't use contractions like doesn't, does not. It is not connected with, or maybe it has got nothing to do, it's also spoken. Right. So if there are any other variants, please write them in the chat box. Okay, and the last part of the essay is the conclusion, in which you're supposed to sum up the main reasons and the advantages. And here's an example. In conclusion, greater affordability and the influence of social media are two reasons why a record number of people are traveling these days. The benefits for these travelers include decreased stress levels and increased awareness and appreciation. Okay, that's an example of a conclusion. And so the whole essay can look like this. So today more people are traveling than ever before. Why is this the case? What are the benefits of traveling for the traveler? In recent times, traveling has become a hugely popular activity. This essay will explore a number of possible factors behind this rise in popularity and detail some of the benefits that traveling can offer travelers. One of the main reasons why the number of people traveling has increased is that travel is much more affordable than it used to be. For instance, whereas in the past it might have cost the average person a year's salary to travel from Britain to Turkey, these days it is possible for British tourists to enjoy a last-minute city break in Istanbul for the cost of half a month's pay. Another significant cause is the rise in social media. This is influential because websites like Facebook and Instagram present their users with an unending stream of photos of friends in exotic locations, thus eliciting a desire to travel. The growth in travel means that many people can now enjoy the benefits of traveling, not least among them a reduction in stress levels. Travelers can use trips abroad to relieve their work-related anxieties and focus on the present moment. This, in turn, can increase their happiness and boost their immune system. A second merit of traveling is that it can help to broaden people's horizons. For example, exploring unfamiliar regions gives travelers a chance to experience new cultures and meet people from different backgrounds. As a result, travelers can enjoy a deeper appreciation for the world. In conclusion, affordability and the influence of social media are two reasons why a record number of people are traveling these days. The benefits for these travelers include decreased stress levels and increased awareness appreciation.